Some very interesting developments on the Cowboys offensive line that we'll get to momentarily, but first, I want to make sure you guys actually have your notifications set to all. Only about 20% of you do. When you guys first subscribed to the Cowboys Report, YouTube defaulted your noties to personalized, not all, meaning you don't get a push notification every single time that we have a Cowboys video for you here on the channel. So go down, double check, make sure you are. And once you've done that, once your noties are set to all, you can type me in the comment section. I know a lot of you guys do, and I appreciate that. I want to thank you guys for that. So again, shout yourself out by typing in me, but just double check and make sure those notifications are indeed set to all here at the Dallas Cowboys Report. All right, boys and girls, let's get into it then around the La'el Collins situation, a move that does indeed surprise me quite a bit. So the Cowboys are giving La'el Collins work not just at right tackle, but at right guard, left guard as well, which is very intriguing. Now, Terence Steele, per Mike McCarthy, is the quote-unquote starter at right tackle, at least to start the week. Connor Williams over there at left guard, as Collins returns from his 5-game NFL suspension. And there are a lot of different theories and ideas and speculation about why the Cowboys are doing this, and all of them, at least for me, don't quite click all the way. There's a but involved with all of them. But as of right now, this would appear to be your starting offensive tackle against Minnesota. Terence Steele at right tackle and Connor Williams at left guard, and La'el Collins at both left guard and right tackle. It's a very intriguing move by Dallas, and we'll go through all the theories and the reasons and the possible speculations here. My one word for this, by the way, is interesting, because I'm very intrigued to see what the Cowboys' long-term plan is for this year and beyond. La'el Collins, folks, has not played offensive guard since 2016. And oh, by the way, his play there was very overhyped. Even at his best year in 2015, remember he got benched and lost his job because of injury in 2016. That 2015 play was, I am of the belief, not that different than what you're getting out of current Connor Williams, who, by the way, unlike Collins and Terence Steele, only has 1 year left on his deal. That seems at least worth mentioning here. And I wonder if Dallas is challenging La'el Collins and or Connor Williams, because Williams did not play great against the Patriots, although he's been pretty solid for the most part of this season. And Collins has missed 21 of the last 22 Cowboys games. I'm sure there's no way in which they're really happy with him in that perspective. Now, I will make note that Collins got more backup work at left guard than right guard, which makes sense because you've got Connor McGovern lined in there on the right side of the offensive line. And I think part of this decision is that Terence Steele, at least the short-term moves, I should say, Terence Steele has played well above average. He has been a better player than expected. I still think he's your fourth best offensive lineman, at least not including La'el Collins. I still think Collins is your third. I still rank it as Williams barely over Steele. But remember, this Cowboys coaching staff was rewarded with their faith in Terence Steele. He played very well. Collins, however, at his best, I believe, is a better player than Terence Steele. And we'll dive into the whole fit left tackle, right guard, right tackle, etc. here as it all fits and all works out. But I am intrigued as to the Cowboys didn't really have a good problem right now. You've got 3 offensive linemen here who are starting caliber players. Now, maybe they're lower end starting caliber players, but still, you got to pick one of these guys to bench. Type CW for Connor Williams, LC for La'el Collins, TS for Terence Steele. This is the pinned comment on today's video, and I want to hear your responses. So get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down, and let me know. Now, we'll spend some more time on this because I'm not done with my thoughts here. I am okay with experiments for now, but I want to raise this point. I think a mid-season position change to a spot you haven't played in almost 5 years now is very difficult. Your technique, your footwork, your handwork, all of it is very, very different. It's not an easy move to make, but you're adding some competition at left guard where there hasn't been any since McGovern hasn't been at left guard really at all. You're adding competition at right tackle. All of those things, I think, in the long run are good. And it still seems like, well, maybe the Cowboys are trying their best 5 right now, which is weird because they weren't trying their best 5 when La'el Collins first got hurt. We were told, no, don't do that. So there's the weird dichotomy there. All the different theories and situations. Oh, maybe they want to bench Connor Williams. Then why is La'el Collins getting work at right guard? That doesn't make any sense. There's a but for everything. It's early in the week. I'm very curious how this all ends up playing out. But in the end, not the worst thing in the world if you don't mess up La'el by having him play left guard when he hasn't played that spot in years. Oh, by the way, yes, I would still consider shopping Collins. If you could get an impact defensive player, a corner, a defensive tackle, I would explore it. Or maybe one of your other offense linemen. Because remember, the contract-wise, yes, you save money moving on from Collins at some point. Well, if he can play left guard and do it at a equal rate to what you would be getting with Williams versus Steele out there on the field, I'll mention this as well. Williams' deal is up after this year, and there will be free agency interest in him. But if Steele and Collins are under contract, well, then that could be your 5 next year. Just a potential idea I'll mention right now. What I'm saying is you can be flexible and patient here, short-term and long-term. You don't have to make a call who starts where right now. See how La'el Collins fares at left guard. If he sucks, if he's not ready for it, okay, disaster, put him back at right tackle. You gave it a shot for one day. You don't have to make a call right now if you're Dallas. Now, if you want to bet on the Cowboys, do it with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use the promo code you guys see on screen, Cowboys125. It'll get you a 125% deposit bonus when you put down at least $100. You can bet on, for example, the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl this year, plus 900. Very intriguing odds. To put that in perspective, what the plus 900 even means, it's kind of simple, actually. When you put down just $10 of your 100 plus your 125 deposit bonus, you'll win 90. That's a pretty great return on your investment there. So if you want to get involved with sports betting, do it with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. The promo code, again, folks, is Cowboys125. One more time for you because I can't put it in the description. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Cowboys125. Let's talk trade now briefly here. We'll spend a little bit less time since we spent so much of today's show dedicated to one La'el Collins. Austin Blythe has now been mentioned as a trade candidate for the Dallas Cowboys by The Ringer. My friend Ben Solak put this idea together. He's got the Cowboys getting Blythe a center option, and the Chiefs get back a 2022 7th round pick. So not much going back to Dallas. It ties into the whole offensive line conversation we've been having. Because remember, your worst starter on the O-line pretty clearly is Tyler Biadasz. Now, Blythe has been a starter in the past, the Rams for 3 years. Chiefs brought him in on a very cheap deal, but then they drafted Creed Humphrey, and he is their starter now at the center position. Now, I do think Biadasz has been playing better for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he has been faring a bit better against, to an extent, lesser competition. I still think there are moments when he gets other offensive linemen, both Martin and Williams, in trouble because he's just not Travis Frederick. Then again, nobody is. And at minimum, for a 7th-round pick, Blythe would be a depth upgrade over Matt Farniok. And it's weird to me the Cowboys never brought in any competition for Biadasz and then tried to make Connor Williams a center, which just did not work. That was a disaster. Now, in 2020, last time we saw Blythe out there, he fared okay. I didn't think he was great. Decent run grade, but a lot of hurries and hits and sacks allowed, which frankly is the same concern the Cowboys have run into with Tyler Biadasz. Now, the sack numbers are down for Biadasz, but remember, sacks are oftentimes a quarterback stat. When you have a great quarterback back there, he's typically able to get the ball out quickly, which I think ties into some of the whole Terence Steele conversation as well. I've got another trade rumor coming up, but first, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Will the Cowboys make a trade? Simple yes or no question here. You can type in 1 for yes, they will, or you can type in 0 for no, they will not. All right, another ringer trade idea. This one I don't love quite as much, but I get where Ben's coming from. Cowboys get Melvin Ingram, some edge help. Steelers get a 2023 fourth-round pick. Now, right off the top, I think that's too much. I'm not trading away a future first for a guy that was on the free agent market not that long ago. Future fifth, we can have that conversation. But I think Ingram could be on the block for Pittsburgh. He's the number 3 edge right now for the Steelers, and they may or may not actually be a contender this year. And if Dallas decides, we're looking at our depth chart on the defensive line, and we're just not in love with it, you could be creative with Ingram and others. Ingram, Micah Parsons, and Randy Gregory, as they've shown this year, are able to rush and rush effectively, lined up on the interior, more of that stand-up, almost inside linebacker role, but they're coming down there and blitzing from that position. And Ingram, as a typical 3-4 defensive end, or edge rusher, I should say, has been able to drop into coverage in the past. And if Dallas goes, we don't love Terrell Basham or Dorrance Armstrong or Nye, and Golston's just not there yet, a veteran like Ingram could start to make some sense. Now, I will say this. Ingram is not what he was in his prime. He's simply no longer that high-end impact edge, which is why I don't want to give up a 4th-round pick for him. But would you do it? Would you trade for Melvin Ingram? We'll assume the cost is maybe a bit more favorable for Dallas. Get your thoughts in for me in the comments. D for deal, or you can type in ND for no deal. Remember, guys, I've got all these questions in the comments section. Go look for it. That's a great spot to send your responses. Let's go rapid fire now on some injury news and notes around the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody panic at all about Dak Prescott because he will be involved and was involved at practice today. And yes, Cooper Rush is going to get some first-team reps. That's what backups do regardless, during the week, especially when there are no pads on. The Cowboys are not going to rush Dak Prescott back if the training staff does not sign off on where he's at, which is trending very much in the right direction. He's not going to play. But I'll tell you this much. Good luck limiting Dak Prescott in an actual game. I feel very confident that Prescott will be out there this week for Dallas. Also, I think set to return is Dorrance Armstrong, who hasn't really played at all this year after a very promising preseason. He's healthy coming out of the bye. I think you'll see more of him this week against Minnesota. Other rapid-fire injury updates here. 5 players who are still technically on either IR or in the Tristan Hill standpoint, the PUP list. Kelvin Joseph with his groin, Sean McCune with his ankle, Michael Gallup with his calf, Tristan Hill back at practice now with his knee, and then Francis Bernard as well, dealing with his hamstring issue. Now, the Cowboys right now, thanks to placing Brent Urban and Maurice Kennedy on IR, actually have 2 roster spots open. My early projection guess here is that those spots will be used on Kelvin Joseph and Sean McEwen. Those 2 guys are closer to being back for Dallas, plus it's an easy 1-to-1 swap with Joseph and Kennedy. We'll see when exactly Michael Gallup comes back. If you're wondering that, check out yesterday's video. Jane Slater had some interesting notes on Michael Gallup.